Hi everyone, we are going to learn today graphing sine and cosine function with a phase shift in it. Okay, it's very not common to have any kind of graph in trigonometry with degree in it, so I'm going to skip that. Graph the trigonometric function y equal to 3 sine parentheses 2x plus pi half. Okay. So this one does have a phase shift because inside the parentheses, you see 2x plus pi half. So be very careful. If you read your phase shift as minus pi half, you made a mistake. You cannot read a phase shift right here. Why not? Because the coefficient of x is 2. So what you want to do is you have to factor out 2 from 2x, factor out 2 from pi over 2. If you do that, you will have this. If you have a little trouble factoring that out, here's the work. So 2x factor out 2 means divide by 2. So cancels out, becomes x. Pi over 2 factor out 2 means divide by 2. That's same as pi over 2 divided by 2, which is same as pi over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2, because 2 is the same as 2 over 1. That's same as pi fourth. That's why you have a pi fourth. Okay, once you factor that out, inside the parentheses, x has a coefficient of 1, then you can read the phase shift. So this one will be phase shift of minus pi fourth, which is the same as left move left by pi fourth. So phase shift is the same as the horizontal shift. Okay, you can get the amplitude, which is absolute value of 3, which is 3 here. Amplitude is 3. Period is 2 pi over b. B value is 2. Absolute value of b. So 2 pi over absolute value of 2 becomes pi. So we got period is pi. When you do graph, you need one tick mark, which is period divided by 4. So you have everything you need to graph. So here is how I recommend you to graph. When you try to graph this, I want you to graph first 3 sine 2x, not considering phase shift. So try to graph this first. So we are not considering phase shift for now. So we got the 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So amplitude is 3. You go maximum line up there, middle line on the x-axis, minimum line on -3, and we had period is pi. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tick mark is pi. And one tick mark was pi fourth. So it's a 1 pi fourth, 2 pi fourth, 3 pi fourth. So 1 pi fourth is pi fourth. 2 pi fourth is pi half, simplified. 3 pi fourth is already simplified. Okay, here is how you would graph. If nothing else, sine graph will start from the here. And you will hit the maximum, you will hit the minimum, you will hit the wall. You will middle, maximum, middle, minimum, middle, and you will connect them nicely, then you would be done. Okay, what's the problem here? We do have a phase shift. What does that mean? We have to move every point left by pi fourth. What does that mean? Every point here will have to move left by pi fourth. How do you do that? Well, you just move it by left by pi fourth. This case, it's easier. Why it's easier? One tick mark happened to be pi fourth. So very easy for you. You just have to move one tick mark to the left. That's not gonna be always the case. So what if that phase shift is not one tick mark? It's like little less than one tick mark. Then what do? You'll have to physically subtract that value from each x value. So what I'm trying to say here is this is x value, x value, x value, x value, x value of the point. So when you move left by pi fourth, you're supposed to subtract pi fourth, subtract pi fourth, subtract pi fourth, subtract pi fourth, subtract pi fourth to get the new point. Okay, so 0 minus pi fourth will be minus pi fourth. 1 pi fourth minus pi fourth is 0. 2 pi fourth minus 1 pi fourth will be 1 pi fourth. 3 pi fourth minus 1 pi fourth will be 2 pi fourth. Pi is same as 4 pi fourth. Minus pi fourth will be 3 pi fourth. So I just subtract this, subtract this, subtract this, subtract this. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. In this graph, so you will have to, you will go one tick mark to the left in this graph because here is an actual number, point. Here is supposed to be maximum here. That's gonna go left by pi 4. This point will go left by pi 4. This point will go left by pi 4. This one will go left by pi 4. So your graph should be left by pi 4, and that is your graph. So be careful when you write the coordinates. You do need to write the coordinates. You're using these minus pi 4th, 0, pi 4th, pi half. That's over 30 pi 4th. And that was a minimum here. That's the middle, which is a 0, 0, 0. Maximum was 3, minimum was minus 3. So when you plot the this graph, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. You will need those points to graph on Alex. So that is the graph of this. So that's the final answer. Okay. There's another example like that. So let me try that for you as well. Again, graph the trigonometric function. If you look at it, we got 5 half cosine 2/3 x minus pi half. Again, do not read the phase shift as pi half here. Then you will lose that. Why? Because x has a coefficient other than 1. It's a 2/3 x. You cannot reach a phase shift like this. What do? You have to factor out 2/3 from here and from here. If you have to factor 2/3 out, then you will have this. Again, if you're a little confused why we have this, you have to factor 2/3. Here's the explanation. 2x over 3, if you factor 2/3 out, you're dividing that by 2/3. So fraction means numerator over denominator means numerator divided by denominator. So that's same as 2x third divided by 2/3, which is exactly the same as 2x third times the reciprocal 3 half. Cancel, 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 cancel. You end up with x. That's why we have x here. Now, minus pi half, you're factoring 2/3 out from there. So that's exactly the same as minus pi half divided by 2/3. So numerator over denominator is the same as numerator divided by denominator, which is the same as numerator multiplied by reciprocal, nothing to cancel here, minus 3 pi fourth. That's why they have a minus 3 pi fourth here. Aha. After you factor that out, now you can read the phase shift, which is 3 pi fourth. So x minus h. So h value is 3 pi fourth. So phase shift is 3 pi fourth. Since it's a positive, that's exactly the same as moving right by 3 pi fourth. Okay, amplitude is absolute value of A, so amplitude should be 5/2. Period is equal to 2 pi over absolute value of B. B is 2/3. The absolute value of 2/3. So again, if this calculation to 3 pi is a little confusing, here is the calculation for period. Period is what? 2 pi over B, absolute value of B, which is 2/3. Again, this is same as 2 pi divided by 2/3. That's exactly the same as 2 pi multiplied by reciprocal. And 2 cancels out, it becomes 3 pi. 3 pi is the period. When you graph it, you need the length of one tick mark. For sine and cosine, one tick mark length is period divided by 4. So I would say one tick mark, period divided by 4. So that will be one tick mark. Let's graph it. When you try to graph it, I strongly recommend you to start with graph not considering phase shift. So the graph I'm going to start consider is cosine 2/3 x without this phase shift. I'm going to try to graph this one first. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so amplitude is 5/2, which is 2.5. So you go 2.5. Maximum line is up there here. Minimum line 2.5 is down here. Period was 3 pi, so third one is 3 pi here. One tick mark, we calculate 3 pi fourth. Okay, so one tick mark is 3 pi fourth. Second tick mark, it was 2 times 3 pi fourth. Third one is 3 times 3 pi fourth. Fourth one is 4 times 3 pi fourth. Well, 4 cancels out, so that's why we have 3 pi. 3 pi fourth is 3 pi fourth. It's already simplified, 3 pi fourth. Okay, 2 times 3 pi fourth, we can simplify with a 2, it becomes 3 pi half. 3 times 3 pi fourth, there's nothing to cancel, so 3 times 3 is 9, so it becomes 9 pi fourth. So we put the labeling there. Cosine, do you remember? Cosine graph start from the maximum, middle, minimum, middle, maximum. If there's no phase shift, you will connect these 5 points nicely and you will be done. Do you remember? This graph has a phase shift in it. So we are done here without phase shift, just connecting them, but we have to consider phase shift, which is right by 3 pi fourth. Okay, again, this question is a relatively simpler question because you're moving right by 3/4 and one tick mark happened to be 3 pi fourth. All you have to do is move right by one tick mark. You still need to calculate those points in x coordinate of the point. So first point here, x coordinate was 0 here. So I'm going to rewrite that's a 0, that's a 3 pi fourth, That's I'm gonna write down as that's a 3 pi half, which is same as 6 pi over 4. Do you remember 2 times 3 is 6 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4. If you simplify, it will be 3 pi over 2. But for subtraction, it's easier to have a 4 here. Denominator is a 4. Again, 9 pi, 4 here. That is 3 pi. 3 pi is same as 12 pi over 4. Before you simplify here, do you see 4 times 2? Why am I leaving as this? Because yes, and you have to do subtraction here. Actually, addition. Because we are moving 3 pi 4 to the right. So all x value here, I'm gonna just make a line between. You will have to add 3 pi 4. You will have to add 3 pi 4. You will have to add 3 pi 4 to every x value. Add 3 pi 4. Add 3 pi 4 to every x value. So that becomes 3 pi 4. This becomes 6 pi 4. 6 pi 4 simplify is what? 3 pi half. That's going to be 9 pi 4. 9 pi 4 simplify, there's 9 pi 4. It's not simplify, it's already simplified. 9 pi 4 plus 3 pi 4 will be 12 pi 4. 12 pi 4, which is 3 pi. Okay, 12 pi 4 plus 3 pi 4 is 15 pi 4. That is not, that's already simplified. Okay, so if you move a 1 tick mark to the right, that is 15 pi 4 and time to graph. This point is moving right by 3 pi 4, which happen to be 1 tick mark. So you just move to the 1 tick mark. This point, move to the 1 tick mark. This point, move to the 1 tick mark. This point, move to the 1 tick mark. This, move to the 1 tick mark to the right. So this is your graph. Right here, right here, right here, right here. That's the answer for this graph. Make sure you give the 5 points because you do need the 5 points. So that was what? 3 pi 4. This is 3 pi half. 9 pi 4. That's 3 pi. And this is a 15 pi 4. Maximum was what? 5 half here, 5 half here. Minimum was minus 5 half here. Middle was 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. You will need these points to graph on RX. Okay, please keep watching the second part of the video.